Oh yeah, this is it. This is ambiance. This is like just we're all setting up dinner together, right? This is family fun time, right? So uh, I really didn't have a Father's Day uh, post to do per se because everything I said about my dad, I have said it. It's done. It's said and done. If I can find that commercial that I was trying to find, I'll find it and I'll react to it. But other than that, this is my Father's Day post. And we have the dinner table. What do you mean, the dinner table? It's a coffee table. That's right. This is the dinner table. So, originally, this is the dining room table in which the legs actually kind of are removable and you can move the whole surface of this table. For whatever reason, other my dad was always busy at work. He would leave for work at 5 or 6 and come home late, or we just got on each other's fucking nerves. We skipped the original dining room table, which is now mine, but then we switched over to the coffee table. Now, as far back as I can remember, that coffee table, was a big part of my life from the early 80s up until I'll say 2004. And for my childhood, I would spend the first, I guess, from age 2 or 3 to like 7 or 8 in a high chair. I remember my dad got lost his temper with me and tried to force food down my throat because I wasn't eating when I was supposed to. And yeah, so I'd go from this high chair to a little Tykes chair, very cheap plastic chair, much like this one here. And what would we do? What would we do? Why were we at this fucking coffee table instead of a dining room table? Well, of course, the answer is obvious. To watch the TV. And if there was nothing good on television, you just get up that VCR, right? You know, pop in the VHS tape. Good times, right? Is that Star Trek Insurrection? It sure is. I got a lot of tapes, lots of VHS tapes. That's what it looks like. Yeah. So the way this works is that, let's say you have this coffee table here. My mom would sit here, my sister would sit here. At some point, my dad had a problem with me sitting on that plastic chair after these motherfuckers, these fucking inbreds and their fucking fireworks. Go fuck your mother's ass. Anyway, so yeah. My sister would sit here, and my mom would sit here. Just my mom and my sister, who would, during those times, she was in her teens to 20s and then hitting 30 at some point. I think she was not 30, mostly in her 20s. My dad had a problem with me sitting in that plastic yellow chair. So eventually I graduated to sitting next to my mom. My mom would be here, I would be here, my sister would be in the plastic chair. Where would my dad be? That's right, he'd be on the floor sitting on a cushion of some type. Some dirty old cushion. He'd never wash it for years. And he would just sit on this couch, on this cushion, to the right of my mom. I would sit to the left of my mom. My sister would sit to the left of me. And we'd watch TV by that dinner table, by a coffee table. Yeah, I mean, we never really communicated to each other unless we had to, unless my dad would bring up something or my mom would bring up something. Um, it was just like a time when we didn't have to talk to each other. For decades, we did this, up until I got into a fist fight with my sister in 2004. And I did have 2 Thanksgivings with my aunt and her family, and I think the last family dinner. You could check my True Force Loneliness videos for that. Oh, yeah, I went off on that back in 2018. And recently, my cousin's gotten sick, cancer, but that's kind of a hard topic. There's been some problems recently. Nothing I can do. Nothing I can do about it. I don't really talk to these people, but I don't wish them to get that sick. I don't wish death upon anybody. Uh, I just wish for them to have suffered as I have suffered mentally and spiritually. Because a lot of people have shitted on me in this family. And it's part of the shitting on people is because we just didn't communicate to each other. So when my dad took other jobs, my dad worked at, worked as a mortician. Then he worked those late night jobs at like McDonnell Douglas and aircraft. Where you're an inspector and you're there for 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. You're there all fucking day. My dad would take hours to get over there across freeways, come home after an 8 hour shift. Then that kind of like slimmed down a bit after the early 90s. And then he would go to school, then he would take classes and work at special ed schools. So he was home more. So we were doing this more, this whole watching TV. I used to think up until, I met my sister's in-laws that this was normal. But it wasn't normal. This was not normal. To sit there at a coffee table and watch TV and not really look at each other because there was just tension in that family, in my family. And I had to do it all over again. No. And here's the thing. I mean, like we talk about, I remember when I did Asano Taiko. It's a taiko class. Taiko is like Japanese style drums. Okay, I still have my bocce sticks. And the first night, I got to meet everybody, and we did a dinner at a restaurant that is no longer there in Torrance. And the girls had their phones. Okay, they just have their cell phones or tablets, mostly their phones. Okay, and they would be just distracted as fuck on their phones. If I ever invite people over to my house, no phones. If you must make a call, if you must text, if you must go online, do it outside the table. The reason is because after that dinner I had in 2013, I said to myself, no, you only get one chance to meet people. And it's very well done to have a dinner and for people to look at each other and interact with each other. Because you may never see that person again. If anything Joey Diaz has taught me and other people is that we get one chance in this life to be who we are. When you're dead, you're dead. You don't get any more shit and you can't take it with you, motherfuckers. That's it. So live the life that you have to live. You want people to be good to you, you have to be good to them. Don't backhand them. Don't pull the football away. Be cool. So no, I don't like the idea of bringing smartphones to the table. That happened in 2018 with my family kind of going through their phones and shit. I thought there was only 4 people, so I guess that was going to happen. It wasn't much of a fucking family dinner, was it? My family's a joke. I hope that doesn't happen to your family. I hope you get along with your dad. Yeah, I don't have much more to say. It was upsetting, and it is upsetting the more I think about it. Now, I mean, for me, I watch the TV while I eat dinner. Why? Because it's just me by myself. And there's nobody else to interact with. There's nobody else to see. I'm not hurting anybody else. So that's it. I might make one or two more shorts to post tonight. If you like this video, you know what to do. Click those buttons below and show some support. I really could use it. Happy Father's Day to those who have good dads, and be a good dad to your kid.